What up, first time adventurers? For those of you looking to get into obstacle course racing, your first big question might be, what should I wear? Well, I've ran 8 Spartan races and a Warrior Dash over the last 3 years, and more or less have worn the same thing to every race. So I'm going to share with you today what I wear when I go do an obstacle course race to hopefully give you some ideas of what you should expect or try out for your first OCR. So to start out with, I want to talk about the shirt or top. This is actually the same shirt that I've worn to every single one of my races. It's a great shirt. It's an Adidas Climalite. It's silky, but it's not so silky that I feel like it's going to fall off. It gives some good protection in case I'm crawling through dirt or get snagged by barbed wire. The thing I like about this shirt is it's not too absorbent, so if I go through water or mud, I don't get caked and really weighed down. It is a bit slippery, so if I'm having to carry something like a bucket carry in the Spartan race, it does tend to slide a bit more. But this shirt has been great. It's fantastic. I am starting to get a few holes on the back from getting snagged by barbed wire, so I am looking to find a new shirt to start running my OCRs in. But overall, this has been a great shirt. So kind of my tips for finding a nice shirt is something that A, is non-cotton, and B, you don't mind if it gets completely destroyed. This shirt was like bleach white my first race, and now it's almost kind of like almost light brown color. It's just all that mud getting caked on has really faded its white. Another option that I do see a lot of guys going with, especially in Spartan race, is just go shirtless. This is fine because if you don't get snagged by the barbed wire. I avoid this because for that exact same reason. I'd rather get my t-shirt snagged by the barbed wire than my skin. So it's a preference for me. I just like wearing a shirt. But for most of the races, going shirtless is totally an option as well. So now moving on to shorts. Once again, these are the same shorts I've worn to all my races too. They're Adidas Climalite shorts. They're thin and silky, very light. They're actually basketball shorts, but they're a very light pair of basketball shorts. And I got them a size smaller, so when they hang down, they don't actually go past my kneecaps. I like them just above my knee. I've ran in regular basketball shorts before, and sometimes if they're too long or too thick and heavy, you can feel it. It's just not as comfortable. These ones are very light, so as you're running and they're swooshing around, you hardly even notice it. These shorts have actually held up very well despite going through water and mud and getting snagged by barbed wire. They are very good shorts. I'm not sure where to actually find them anymore, but these are a pair of shorts I would definitely get again just for OCR. So when you are kind of looking for a new pair of shorts to run your race in, I personally look for kind of a thin, lightweight material, and I like them being just above my kneecaps. I do see some people wearing super short shorts, like regular running shorts. I personally can't bring myself to do that. And then there's also a lot of people that run in like tights, full-length tights. Those are actually pretty great. I haven't personally ever ran in them, but they cover your whole leg, so you get some extra protection, and B, kind of some extra compression. And also kind of helps keep your whole leg warm, especially in the colder months. I tend to get a little chilly before the race starts because my legs are exposed. But regardless of what type of shorts or tights you tend to go with, the one thing I would highly recommend is not getting a pair with pockets. The pockets could be great if you're wanting to carry something along with you on the race, but what tends to happen is those pockets fill up with water or mud, and then it sits there and gets stuck and it weighs you down, and it's just all that much more frustrating. So whatever you decide, I highly recommend getting rid of the pockets. Next are socks. So socks, I didn't really pay much attention to socks my first few races. I just wore whatever I grabbed lying around. But I very quickly discovered that some of the courses aren't very well groomed, so sometimes you're running through brush, and then sometimes, especially in Spartan races, you want to use your legs to like grab onto a rope or pull yourself, or you kind of need to use your ankles a little bit. So I started wearing long socks. So these go up about to the bottom of my calf or so. So they're not super high socks, but they're high enough where I can hike them up and it helps protect my ankle. And as you can see, I have a nice tear in this sock right here. This was from my last race because I used this on one of the obstacles with a rope. I just looped my ankles around the rope and pulled myself across it, and the rope actually burnt through the sock. So if I hadn't been wearing these, I would have gotten a real nice rope burn on the back of my ankle. So once again, if you're wearing long tights, this isn't as big of an issue, but if you're wearing shorts, I highly recommend a pair of long socks. Now we're getting into shoes. So my first few races, I ran in just regular old running shoes. It was actually almost a pair of Asics just like this. And it worked great. Honestly, I didn't notice any problem. My only big issue that first race was there was one really muddy hill that I had difficulties getting up because I had no traction on my shoes. But other than that, for my first 5 or 6 races actually, I just ran in an old pair of running shoes. Once my road shoes were worn down and I got a new pair, my old pair would become my OCR shoes. So any type of running shoe for your first few races are definitely fine. I would avoid any like Converse, or I would avoid basketball shoes at all costs. First, no traction at all, and second, having that high ankle is very uncomfortable. I have seen a few people run them in boots, which surprised me, and I guess if you're planning on doing a lot of walking, they're as good as anything. Just if you are trying to run and get a fast time, I would avoid boots. So my last few races, I actually decided to invest in a pair of actual trail running shoes. So this is a pair of Brooks I got at REI actually, and these have been fantastic. I mean, I do just regular trail runs on weekends in these and then can go out and run races. The great thing about these is they are super easy to clean, and they have like this texture on the outside that help kind of wick away water and mud so they don't get too caked during the race, and you can keep lots of traction. And then once again, it does have a thicker tread than a regular pair of running shoes, which going up the muddy hills or just running through the trails is really useful. There are some like Spartan race specific race shoes that are even more tready, like just huge tread. While for like sprints or shorter races, they would probably be pretty good. I've never tried a pair, but I feel for longer races, the tread kind of gets up in the way a little bit, and just kind of loses its purpose. And on some of the obstacles where you need to use your feet, like get your feet up on a wall or something, the tread kind of actually makes it harder. Now I kind of want to get into what gear I would leave at home. Personally, I don't like running with any heart rate monitor or watch of any kind. I've ran a few with my GoPro, but other than that, that's it. I don't like carrying around the technology, and for multiple reasons. I don't want to accidentally crush it, or if it's not 100% waterproof, I don't want to have to be sitting there with my arm way out of the water to avoid it getting wet. So any electronics, I recommend just leaving at home, unless of course it's like a life-proof GoPro, or you know for sure it's not going to get ruined. Something else I recommend leaving at home is a water reservoir, such as like a platypus or a camel pack. For most of these races, they simply aren't long enough to really require that. Plus, there's usually a water station of some kind every 3 miles or so. I can see if you're running a Spartan Beast or one of the longer races like a Tough Mudder that are like 10 plus miles or so, that you might consider taking one, especially if you aren't that prepared for the race. But personally, I feel like if you can't make that distance without just using the regular water stops, you probably should reconsider running that distance in the first place. Maybe rather go back and do a shorter run first. Kind of going on with the water reservoir and platypus, I'd also recommend just leaving any running fuel at home. For the longer races, they tend to provide like Cliff Bars or something about the halfway point. Other than that, I honestly, as long as you fuel up properly before the race, I don't really see any reason for you to need to bring your own. So Cliff Bars, gels, leave at home. So this is what I wear for my obstacle course races. It works for me, it may not work for you. If this is your first obstacle course race, I would suggest this as a good solid starting spot. But honestly, everyone's different. So if you end up having to wear a cotton shirt because you just can't stand this polyester silk, more power to you. If you want to wear hiking boots, wear hiking boots. It's really a personal choice. But thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe at First Time Adventure and find your adventure.